Hi guys, puffing on the old pipe this morning, trying to cope with the stress of what I'm going to find when I do this job on the lead screw. So, blow the smoke away. A lot of this is suck it and see, I must admit. I've researched quite a bit. Anyway, we've got these two cheese heads that have come out from either side there of the near the dovetail on the x-axis, and I think the main thing now is just to get this table off. So I'll have to remove I've got this started, remove this hand wheel from here. Try not to lose. I thought there was a washer on that, maybe not. Oh yes, there it is. And there's a key. Got to get a key out of here. It's I'm not sure whether that is, it should be a plain key, it's not a Woodruff. There it is. Just a little 1/8 by 1/8, I think, or something stupidly metric. Right, so that will go through the bearing, and then I think we've got to take off this end plate. Incidentally, covering this on video is not going to be easy because I can't keep fiddling with the camera all the time. I'll just try and show you what I regard as the key items. I think that's all, because it might be of interest to somebody else. Little hex screw there, another one here, and the end is on pins, which might take a little bit of shifting. So I have to see I don't know whether this little brass hammer will do anything. It might. Now, to be honest, having got those two cheese heads out, I'm not at all sure how the Gibbs setting works on this. Not sure at all. There's going to be a lot of discovery here, and probably somebody else will be watching this and thinking, oh, it's not difficult at all. But for this old fella, it's first time. Let me just finish getting this off and I'll come back to you. Okay, so that end cap is off. There are two lots of bearings. There's the bearing, if you can even see it. They're not encased bearings, they're just ball races and riders. So that's off. And I've taken the stop out of this end. Find somewhere to put these things in a minute. And I don't think that's going to matter. So what I'm hoping is that I can get the lead screw nut is here. And just wondering, it may be easiest, I don't know actually, if I undo the lead screw nut, I don't know whether it'll come out the other end with the table. Trying to see down there. I don't think it will. I've got to come out of the nut, I think. So let's fiddle with that, see where we go. One thing I meant to mention, the reason I'm trying to get started on this is it's cooler temperatures. In fact, the whole weekend may not be much above 70, so I just got to crack on. Right, the lead screw, this is a bit hairy. The lead screw is out of the thread. I've got to take this out real careful. There we are, that's the table. Oh gosh. Alright, that's the table. So, alright, let's see where we are. Oh, I see. There's the gib. Alright, let's put that over with the table. Orient it correctly. And let's get some paper. We got a boatload of spare grease here. I think when they did this, they just shot grease at it and hoped it would go in the right place. Alright. The take-up screws for the slit are loose at the moment, so with the limited backlash, that's good news. Right, what's next? I've got to take this way cover off. Right, that's the limit. I'm going to work out how to get it. Oh, I'll take it off at the back, I suppose, and then see where we go. There's the lead screw nut for the Y. Right, back in a minute. It's coming a little bit tighter. Again, I'm not changing camera angle all the time. You can pretty much tell what I'm doing. So we've taken the way cover off at the rear, put the bolts back in there for safekeeping, and we're taking the cover off the other end completely, because we've got to get at the gib screw this end. So we'll put that to one side and put the screws back in here. It's so easy to lose screws. You finish up with a pile of bits, and at the end you think, where's such and such, because it's missing. Either that, or you think, why have I got one screw left? That's a classic case of working on the car, isn't it? Whew, tell you what, I just caught my armpit then. That time I had a bit of deodorant. Excuse me again, it's still plenty warm enough. Alright, that's off there. Now we've got to get the, we're nearly at the limit on the Y, so I think what we'll do is, oh dear, too much pipe smoking. I think we'll lock, I think I'll have to lock the Y and then take this, I've got to take the whole of this off. Wait a minute, I've got to see what I can do with this. I can see some bolts under here. I'll have to get at those. Alright, talk amongst yourselves. Alright, let's go to the gib screw, and now let's see. Oh, wait a minute, I've got to get these out. If I remember what I did, oh there it is. Going on the fly.
machine, will it?
Well, just wondering here whether to take the handle off and keep going this way till I get off the ways. Let's have a closer look. Alright, we've taken this off here. There's the remains of the bearing assembly. As I say, it's a double bearing race, but they're free, they're not encapsulated. I showed you on the other one. So I've pulled that off, took the key out somewhere safe, and now I think I could put the handle back on, but see where we go there. Oh, of course, yeah, got to get that lead screw out. So I'm just going to turn it from this end, and that's going to take me a while, I think. About 9 inches of thread to come out of the nut. Alright, we're going to try and cheat here. I only want a light grip. Oh, help if I tighten the chuck, wouldn't it? Just a light grip. That'll do, and finish it by hand. Don't want to, even though this lead screw is not going to be used again, I don't think, I don't want to put stress on it and get it out of true. Must be nearly there. Whew. I tell you what, guys, it may only be, so I think 71 in here, and the humidity is actually not bad at all, but I just sweat for a hobby. Literally. It may not be Niagara every time, but it's a steady drip, drip, drip. Alright, let's see if we can get this now, what are we up against here? Oh, of course, it's the nut. Oh, I'll have to get at the nut from the back end, won't I? Yes. Alright. Don't take a nap. Alright. I didn't know how long that would take. And this has gone a bit tight on the gibs. I'll have to readjust when I get further ahead. Anyway, there's the old nut. I've got so much stuff here. These are that's the wrong size. Right, these short look like 5mm. I'll take them out of the old lead screw nut. And transfer those to the new one. As I think I said, particularly on the x-axis and also on this one, these had not been done up at all. So the backlash was, shall we say, normal, without any correction needed. Right, now the nut came out from the bottom. We're going to have a bit of a job getting it positioned. The bolts that hold the nut in place are not holding by many threads, but I guess it's all right. So I'll put that away and I'll see if I can get this in place and find some way of supporting it was to get the bolts through. I'm still trying. I got a piece of round bar through the thread here. I'm trying to offer it up to the slot. There you are. Now the old one, I said these screws haven't got much thread bite. Of course they won't, because they're compression. I mean, they're just locking the nut in place. So what I'm going to do is take that up just a little, just to try and keep it in. Oops, oh gosh, there's another hex key gone down the pan. I don't want this tight. I just want to barely hold it. Oh dear. I think the oh, I can't find anything. I got stuff everywhere. Get my hex key back. Right, now the thing is probably is to get the new lead screw in and just get it to catch. It's grease time. Get this greased up reasonably. I think at the moment that T-nut is one of the most awkward phases, and I've decided not to take this Y body off, because I don't think it would make life much easier, to be honest. Okay. I really must stop smoking. Now let's get this. Hopefully we can find the maybe we've got to I'm just starting in the thread, just a smidgen. I've got too many hex keys here. I'm just slackening this off and hoping the nut won't go disappearing into I don't know where. Oh, it's a bit tight at the moment. This is definitely going to be a fiddle. I'm just on the first couple of threads, so it's a little bit awkward. Right, let me persevere with that. I keep stopping and starting, but all I'm trying to do is just show you guys basically what I'm doing to try and fix this damn thing. So the actual sequence of events is really all you need to know, I think. Right, I'm just taking it real easy here. Alright, now I've got to get this reassembled here. Let me put this old one out of the way. I'll try and come in a bit closer. I've avoided close-ups in case I miss bits. Let me come in a little bit. I'm going to get this again. Play hunt the hex key. I'm going to get this back in because whilst that nut is floating. Can you see it? Oh. There you are. You see the way that's floating around, so I want to get this on so that I can get the alignment right before I cinch up the nut in position, and hopefully then it'll be aligned as well as I can get it. Get the other one in. And I think I'll need to come on, you devil. I think I'll also need to oh, I can't do something and talk at the same time. I'll need to get the handle on so I can take up the bearing tension. Let's just get that. It should be adequate for the moment. I'll cinch that up later. Now that, in theory, I don't know whether we need the handle on. I'm going to eyeball that just for the moment and see how it performs. If I can find the darn hole at the back. Sucker moved. Oh dear, trying to find these darn holes. Let's try and get it back where I had it. There. There. Let's do the other one up. Those aren't finished tight yet. I'll try and get the handle on. See if we can get things moving. I'm just putting the gib screws back in. It seems, I guess the way this works is the gib plates are just very slightly tapered, and when I moved this with the gib screws out, the plate has moved and somewhat locked it up. So I'm going to have to try and fiddle with the adjustment on that and free it off a bit. Mind you, I'm not sure what the heck this one does. Hard to tell. Anyway, I'm going to adjust that rear one and try and get this freed up. Right, well, what happened was the gib plate had shifted backwards. So I put the gib screw back in and taken it up. I won't give you a close up, but there's a bit of it showing here now. So I've got the movement back, which means I should be able to get the handle on. Better put the key back in. I think this is a pretty darn fiddly job, and not one I really wanted to do, but seeing as I wanted to get this indicating right, let's see what happens here. Alright, let's take that up and see if that lead screw is running true. I'm sorry, this is probably a bit tedious if you're watching the whole thing, but all I'm trying to do is see. Something's a bit tight there, I must check that out. Readjust the nut probably. Alright, that's still too tight. I've got to get this gib screw adjustment sorted out. Way too tight. Right, quick bit of info. This is incidental in one way. On the x-axis between the two gib screws there is about a 5/8, half inch to 5/8 diameter piece which might be cast. It has a V slot and a slit, and this end is narrow. is narrower. This end is narrower. This end is fatter. So as the gib screws go in and pull it this way or that, it's going to exert pressure on the gib plate, and that's what's happening on here. I've got to work out which way around it's supposed to be doing it. Right, we got sorted on that. Thread's a little bit stiff, but I checked very hard to get at, the two bolts underneath, which are equivalent to these to close the slot. Make sure they're loose. I think the lead screw may be just a few seconds or minutes off absolute true. I didn't put it on the rollers. Anyway, I think it's got to bed in. I've sorted out the gib situation. I now understand how it works. The end of the gib here is showing, and this one for the X, that will be showing on the right. And that is actually following a guide inside. There's a long hole through here with a guide in it. I called it a V before, it isn't, it's a profiled groove. But if you look at the gib, let's see if you can see that. Do you see the thickness varies? It's got a taper. So in essence what you've got, as far as I can tell, is that the insert in here from end to end has a slight taper on it, which, shall we say, is wide this end and narrow that end, and then as the gib comes up you've got two opposite tapers. So as that comes this way, it's also pushed in and stays parallel. Quite clever really, but hellish fiddly to get this devil undone. So we're going to try and get the bits and pieces back on. Let's get the way protector back on, I think. Remember to do the right sequence. Whew, I tell you what guys, the old story, taking something apart is invariably easier than putting it back together. So I got my dear wife to come and help, because this table is pretty heavy. So I got her just to stop the gib plate from falling over, and then making sure that the lead screw was back in the nut. So just going to take this across. I can feel a bit of slop. I've got to take the gib up again. I meant to say another way to think of the principle of the gib plates. If you imagine an adjustable parallel riding up and down on an angle, and in this case there are two complementary tapers in reverse. That's obviously what's going on. So everything else really is just the reverse of what we did before. I've just got to put this little guy in. Somebody, I think somewhere, had made, oh, I've got such a mess of keys here. I can't find what I'm looking for. Somebody else made some nicer stops for the table, which I might do sometime. Now these are still pretty nicely greased. And here we've got to get onto the get all this back on and get the these pins engaged. I'll do. It's a bit of a fiddle. Sorry about all the breaks between clips, but if something's a bit fiddly, there doesn't seem much point in belabouring it and boring hell out of you. Now, this isn't quite mating up yet. I think it is. Yeah, there is a slight natural gap there. Anyway, I'll find the bolts and we'll get the handle back on. Alright, I think we're nearly done. Right, all I've got left now is, well, this Y-axis I think will mellow with use. It's just a little bit, I noticed the lead screw was fairly tight in the nut. And I think I've got the gibs more or less sorted out now. So that's coming out all right. I don't think there's much else to check, so just take up the gib there. What I will do, just to finish with, this may not be very clear for the DTI. I'm on 0, once round, and back to 0, near as damn it. Go round again, round again. Oh, I just went past. There you are, that was 3 revolutions, 300 thou. That'll work. There it is. I've been dreading doing it, I must admit, because I'm so used to old machines with the usual gib screws. You know, you have maybe 3 and little locking nuts. This system is actually quite clever, but it took this rather, how should we say, this rather corroded grey matter a little while to actually grasp what was happening. It took me a while to get this wretched Y actually freed off. What had happened was I'd taken the, rather stupidly actually, I'd taken the gib screws out, and then I was moving it back and forth by hand and hadn't realised that the gib plate, you know, which is tapered, had gone too far and more or less jammed it. So until I got both the screws in and started to, you know, adjust one with the other, and then I got it freed up. Putting back together is definitely a pain sometimes, and a lot of the fiddly bits are the least important. I mean, just getting these screws back in. What a fiddle. Anyway, I've lubricated the ways, and I think I can say with moderate confidence that I could repeat the whole process in a third of the time. I was actually out part of the day, so it's been done in bits, but oh, I don't know, it must have taken, what would we say, I'm trying to think. It's very, very hard to actually estimate. To say I did it in an hour would be being over optimistic. I would say it probably took me an hour and a half, 2 hours, one way and another. And it was certainly helpful having 2 pairs of hands getting the table back on. The rest of it, one person job, not really a problem. And having got used to the various mechanics and bits and pieces. As I say, I could do it again now, I think, which I don't want to do. So anybody want a metric lead screw and nut for a 0704? Alright guys, the long-awaited attempt to document this process, which I say is very bitty. I was concentrating really more on what I was doing than using the camera. So hopefully, anyway, it may give a bit of guidance, and if I've forgotten anything, I'll put in some little bits of text if needed. Alright, over and out for now. Thanks for watching.